again, friends, and welcome to another segment here on Doc G's Wine and Spirits Review. I've been hiding from the heat lately, but I figured today I would get back to you with some of the things that have been going on and some of the things that I'd like to share with you. So what has been going on is, since I last saw you, I had the privilege of throwing a very nice surprise party for my lovely wife. That happened last Saturday. Totally surprised her. 10 years ago I tried the same thing, and let's just say I didn't surprise her. I kind of made a few mistakes. This year I got her. And part of that party is what I want to share with you today. So in preparation for that party, I made a nice sangria to go with that party. So for today's topic, I'm going to share with you a little bit of history on sangria and a little bit of history on how I came to choose this one. So before we do that, let me pour a little bit here. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the sangria and the recipe. Cheers and welcome to a very balmy, warm Sunday afternoon in my backyard. Just what this calls for. So first of all, this sangria is a recipe that I found on the internet, and I'm going to share the recipe itself on the Facebook blog with you. And I am going to talk about it a little. I have some of the ingredients here on the table, and I want to talk about sangria in general first. So usually when you think of sangria, you think of something that is red, and that traces back to the origin of sangria, which predominantly traces back to the Roman times when they moved into the Iberian Peninsula, Portugal and Spain. And back then water was not really safe, so they would take alcohol and kind of just all mix it up into things, and sangria was born basically in that way. That's a very shortened version. I'll put a little spot on the internet for you in case you would like to read about that as well. But long story short, over the years, sangria has evolved. And remember, sangria is literally the Spanish word for bloodletting, and it traces back to the Latin root sanguis for blood as well. And that's simply due to the fact that sangria is generally red. So when you have a sangria like this and it's not red, you have to give it its color name, so it's white sangria. So sangria has obviously evolved all over the world. It's becoming very popular in a lot of restaurants now. It's seeing kind of a renaissance. There are even sangrias that you can buy in the bottle. I'm not here to talk about those today because this is fun to make. It's very simple to make, and it is absolutely flavorful and refreshing. You can put ice in it, and it goes down like you're drinking some kind of fruit punch. So in a way, sangria and fruit punch are related. This sangria, happens to have some alcohol in it. So let me talk to you about exactly what is in this concoction that you see before you here, and what brought me to make it for this party that I had last week for my wife. So I was looking for something that would be easy. I actually had a bartender here for this party. This recipe was so good that after I greeted all the guests and the surprise started, by the time I came over to get, and we made 2 batches of this. This is 1 batch. By the time I came over to get a glass of it, the bartender said, "It's gone." And I was, oh my. So being the bartender that she was, she improvised and actually riffed on making another punch that day. I don't really know what was in that one, but I do know what was in this one and what is in the one that sits before you today. So let me go through the recipe and share with you what's in my glass and in this jug. So first of all, the ingredients that you're going to have to gather. I used a bottle of this cava from Spain. I also used Courvoisier, which is a cognac, brandy slash, and I used 7-Up. Now that's not all that's in it, but those are the main players along with the fruit that is in it. So one of the things you have to do with the sangria is it is a sweet-based drink, and you want to make sure there's plenty of sugar in it. So when I talk about this recipe, I'll talk about the changes that I made in it in order to keep the calories down. So the first thing that I do, instead of using the sugar that they calls for a cup of sugar, a quarter cup of sugar, a quarter cup of brandy, which is this Courvoisier. You can use peach brandy or other brandies that you want. It does not have to be this. The recipe didn't even call for this. This happens to be the one that Doc G has around the house. You can also use a dry white wine, or you can up your game with a Prosecco or a Cava or some other sparkling. This happens to be a Spanish Cava as kind of an homage to this drink being of Spanish and Portuguese origins. And then they want you to top it off with some 7-Up. I use Diet 7-Up. So all of those ingredients, very simply, instead of using sugar, I use stevia simple syrup. I make my own stevia simple syrup, and it is 0 calories. It is just as sweet, and you don't have to worry about it dissolving in the mixture. I've already pre-dissolved it. So basically, the storm going out here, trying to get in before the storm that I think is coming. I don't know. We do need some rain. But at any rate, you take the fruit, you take lemons, limes, peaches, and strawberries. In this recipe, cut them up, throw them in the jar. You take the brandy, mix it with the simple syrup, you throw that in here and stir it around, and then you simply boom, 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 pour in your white wine, boom, boom, boom. You add 12 ounces of your citrus soda. If you don't like 7-Up, you can use whatever you want. The recipe doesn't call for 7-Up per se. Put it in there, stir it around, and the best thing to do, now this has only been macerating about, I'm going to guess about 6 hours. The best way to do this, and when I made it before, I made it overnight and I let it marinate, let it macerate as they call it with the fruit, so that the fruit flavors blend very well into the mixture, and that gives it the flavor that it has. It's just very light, very refreshing. I can very easily see how 3 or 4 pitchers of this disappeared. Well, remember I had 40 people as well, so that does help to explain how fast it went. And it was a warm day. It wasn't like it's been the last week for those of you living around here, but it was very good, and it comes from Taste of Home Recipes. It's called a quick white sangria. I promise I will post it for you, and I promise I'll post a little bit of background on what makes sangria in the first place. So I don't really have much more to add to that. This is a nice, short, and simple spot for you. I urge you, if you're into some sangrias, that you go out and try this. One of the things before I say goodbye for today is that on the recipe, when you look at it, there are things that they let you riff. You can do this or that, or the other thing, talking about adding spices. And that's the lovely thing about a sangria. It's kind of like an alcohol salad. So you can throw into your salad whatever it is you think will work. I was even thinking that this has so much lemon in it, maybe if you can substitute out the brandy for some limoncello, that might work too. So whatever you want to riff with it, if you're so into sangrias. If you don't want to do this, you can knock yourself out and go to the wine and spirit shop and just buy yourself a bottle of sangria and pour it over ice. I like making this. It's a lot of fun. So cheers to you. Happy summer. We are 3 or 4 days and fully rolling into this summer. It's been a hot one. So we will see you again next time. Cheers and stay safe. That is so good. See you next time.